Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Happiness Is podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness is Egg-Shaped, and I was smiling like a dafty because Doddie Weir did lots of things for me. He introduced me to lots of things, and through DoddieAid, back in those COVID days, I heard this band called Skerryvore on a DoddieAid show, and I was absolutely hooked. I love them to bits, and I cannot wait to see them live. So when I got a message to say they were keen for a chat, I absolutely jumped to it. Let's not waste any time and bring in the Gillespie brothers, Martin and Daniel. Hello there.
Hi Bruce, how are you, man?
Yeah, very, very
How's
good.
it
I
going?
am smiling like a dafty because I listen to your tunes all the time. I think everybody listens to Take My Hand. Do you get bored of people talking to you about that?
No, probably not. It's the one song probably without fail every couple of days we get tagged in something or it gets shared from somebody's wedding or for something like that. So it gets a lot. It gets a lot, and then the GBX stuff as well. So it gets a lot of plays. So it's great, and it's done great for us as a band.
How does that work? Did GBX just get in touch with you and say I want to do this, or do they just get to do it? Like, did you
No,
approve
they,
it?
they did get in touch. Yeah, it was again during the crazy COVID times. We got a message from Brendan Moon, who is George Bowie's manager and was Palatini's manager, original manager, and just asking if we do this. And we were obviously just laughing away and went in to speak to them. And we're like, and Alec and Alan from the band went into the studio and worked on the version a wee bit with George. And next minute, they get released, and we timed it perfectly because Scotland qualified for the Euros that week. And it was, again, so I adopted a wee bit as a celebration to that. So good timing.
It's class though. You boys, you must be pinching yourself, you know? I mean, this doesn't happen to boys for Tyree.
No, we've been quite lucky enough in our musical career and the different places it's taken us to, and sort of where music's got us to. So we're very grateful and enjoy it as well as you've got today. Yeah, number one rules, enjoy it. But, yeah. I mean, Tyree for a wee island at Fair Punch is pretty high with the amount of musicians. So we've had such a small island. Even the boys we were at school with, Big Angus is he's one of the main guys in Skippinish, and Smithy and Findo and Alan from Trail West as well. So we've got sort of three bands that all got a good strong Tyree contingent amongst them.
A mate of mine just lives round the corner, Alan Murdoch. He's in Tyree all the time and just winds me up when he comes back. He says, "Oh, the boys from Skerryvore, and they just started playing in the pub, and the Trail West are there, and I think he just does it to wind me up." But
I'll tell you what, we wouldn't be playing in the pub; we'd be drinking in the pub.
Now, Tyree, you leave and you come to the mainland. How do you go about putting a band together? What's the magic? Because obviously you need the instruments, but it's a lot more than that, and you spend so much time together. How do you go about picking a band?
It was just a chance meeting, to be honest. It all started. We were obviously on Tyree, and it was the summer months, and Fraser, the drummer, is from Livingston, and he'd been coming up. We'd sort of met him a few times, like playing football and things, and seen him in the pub, and he was coming up every summer with his family. Then he arrived this summer with a friend from school, Alec, who's the lead singer, the two of them, and I think I was jamming in the pub at the time, just playing tunes with the box, and got chatting with them, and the next thing there was a chance to do a Cayley in Livingston with them playing, and we'd never done a rehearsal or anything. We just went and played this Cayley, and then Martin was finishing school, and we just thought, well, maybe try and do a couple more gigs. So it was Big Angus from Skippinish. He was sort of had Skippinish up and running by this point. He said, I'll set up a tour for you in the Highlands and Islands. And we went off and had a summer of laughs, and that was it. And honestly, there was no plan to be a band. It was like US, you can imagine, like Tyree, Mull, US, Barra, just up the Lewis side. Just we got a taste of like, oh, we can do this, have a good laugh, make a few pounds, have a few beers. And it was like, let's just keep doing it. And just kind of grew and grew. That's it. I had absolutely no plans to be a musician whatsoever.
It's so good though that when you can make your passion into something that pays the bills and gives you those laughs and enjoyment. If a kid comes to you and says, "How do I get into a band?" or what advice do you give them?
I think the thing for us, it wasn't like it was all pretty organic. It just kind of it just happened to us, and the music happened naturally. It wasn't a case of this is what we're going to do. Like it just kind of evolved from being very traditional, like because it was all we would just play to
we were brought up playing accordion and pipes. So it was literally pipe tunes and playing for Kayleys and dances for the first 3-4 years, and it just sort of evolved. We discovered Alec could sing, and all Alec and Fraser are from a more commercial pop and
there always was, right from the start, there always was a slight fusion of styles because Alec and Fraser, he didn't come from a Cayley background. Their immediate approach to playing guitar and drums with us was different than what somebody else, on the West Coast would have approached it. So there always was that. And then as we started doing it more and there was more gigs, we obviously had ambition to play our own music and write our own songs. But Alec didn't sing for the first couple of years. Alec didn't even tell us he could sing. It wasn't until we were down the line that
the first album. I come up to the first album and discovered he could sing the song we used to sing in Tyree called "Home to Donegal," and he started singing that, and then it came down the album. I had to give him a bottle of vodka to sing the album, which got drunk while I was doing the recording.
That's a proper Cayley band, getting drunk before you start playing. That "Home to Donegal" is on the live album is so cool.
Yeah, it's been a sort of, as I said, it was a sort of anthem in Tyree, and then we sort of adopted it as an anthem for that album and stuff. And it's been an amazing song for us, and we never actually knew who wrote it. And then eventually the guy that wrote it reached out, didn't he? Patsy Carana. So that and his nephews are musicians as well now and all that as well. So there's been some really cool connections on that. But no, it was the first song that we got Alec to sing, and then it's just sort of grown from there. It's like
can't shut him up now,
it's all been very organic, and it's obviously changed a lot, but it was always the thing of we wanted to try and fuse traditional music with different styles, and particularly pop and rock and things like that, and make it more accessible maybe for more people, as well.
I've never seen you live, right? It's going to happen, but I've never seen you live. But when I listen to the live tracks, it sounds like he's been singing all his days, and he's very comfortable introducing the band and telling everybody that it's great to finish in Scotland and all those things that he does. Is it nice seeing all that from your perspective? You'll have been in the crowd at hundreds of gigs and probably thought, I'd love to do that. Or what's it like being on the stage and seeing all that happen and seeing how the crowd respond?
Oh, it's an incredible feeling. We've been very lucky to some of the festivals and crowds we've got to play at, and it is an incredible feeling when you come off stage, and something it's hard to process. I think that was one maybe thing we discovered sort of during lockdown. We had to stop, and we didn't have any gigs. Like, you kind of went back and you appreciated even more all the sort of crowds and festivals and events we got to play at. So yeah, it's definitely an amazing feeling.
Is it a drug?
It could be classed as that, in terms of the high of it. It's we also, because we've been doing it so long now as well, I think the break was good for us. I would never say COVID was a good time for anybody, full stop, but in a way for us, because we toured so heavy for so many years, actually the break probably is what we needed in terms of just stopping, reflecting on what we've been doing. We managed to write some more music. Marty wrote the Everyday Heroes tune that got to #1. We got our first ever track on Radio 2 and things like that. So in a way it was like something maybe we just needed to sit back and reflect. And as Marty said, when honestly the buzz going back out, and we went the first gig back at the Gathering in Inverness. That was our first sort of big gig back. It was incredible, like 6,000 people there. And then the first trip back out to America was like the first time we went 10 years ago when we went to the Ryder Cup in Louisville, Kentucky. Man, just like kids in a sweetie shop, for the first time. It was unreal. So we're very fortunate that we get to do something that we enjoy. And you have to, I think, if you did this job with it, particularly the hours with travel and the time away from home, if you didn't enjoy it, there's no point in doing it, because it would come across in everything you do, when you perform and all that. So you have to enjoy it.
But you never thought this was going to happen. You just played music because that was what you did. You're now playing music for the enjoyment of all those folk out there watching. That's special, eh?
It's a really amazing thing, and there's been some incredible stories sent into us. It's amazing some of the letters and emails that we receive from people, and what particular music or tune is meant to them, particularly in some moment in their lives and things like that. And I think that's probably the best thing you could ever hope to achieve from music. If it's made a difference to people, I think That's the main thing. Even like people turning up at gigs and they've got tattoos of lyrics in their arms and things like that. It's like, I mean, if people are willing to go that far, but it's like it obviously means a lot to them. So we've been very lucky that way.
Still not seen him do a happiness egg-shaped tattoo, but I'm working on it.
That's you drop the seed and Marty here.
A couple of bottles of whiskey and I'll get it done.
Dougie Vipon said that when Deacon Blue go out, Ricky gets them together and says, you know, this has to be an amazing gig because those people have come to see us and they have to leave with a feeling, and it's almost like a team talk before they go on stage. Do you have a little ritual before you go out?
A couple of drams.
There's a big theme here for you. There's a big theme here.
That's his ritual. No, we don't actually. And a few, certainly like the newest band members, have been surprised by that. I thought they would come in and thought they were a big huddle and all that and we go on. But to be honest, we're pretty calm before we go on in general, pretty relaxed. And I think part of the reason for that is like we prefer just to keep an even keel, not get too high, not get too low at any point in the tour. It's a skill to try and keep yourself, because you're there with everybody, and there'll be some nights you're definitely more hyper than others, and ones when you're maybe a wee bit more tired. But it's a skill just try to keep yourself calm enough. But there is some gigs that are just, and honestly, it can be some of the smallest gigs or some of the gigs that you'd be least expecting, and just turns out to be absolutely incredible, and you just can't help yourself. I think the one that always sticks in my mind for this is we were on a US tour about 6 years ago or something, and we played in Salt Lake City, Utah, and there was only about 50 people there, and we all came off and were pretty gutted. You know, the numbers were poor and all that and everything else. And the night after that, we were going to Rexburg, Idaho, to a Mormon university that we've been booked on tonight. And you can imagine it's a lesson in stereotyping, right? So
No booze, no
drink. We've been told there's no drink.
So we're all going to fear as it is.
We're just at this rubbish gig in Salt Lake City. We're heading to this Mormon university and we're having our dinner backstage. No one really said it ends, but N would know up because there was no tickets. We never knew anything about what was going to be there. And at the start of this show, at this point, Alec would come out himself when we were doing this set. And Alec walked out on the stage, and the roar, like, I thought something had went wrong, but it was 800 people there, packed out. And it was like, honestly, you come off and thought we were the Beatles. It was just unreal. And we were signing merchandise for about 2 hours after the show and all that. And it's just like, this is just a lesson in just don't stereotype. You just don't know what's going to come. So I just crazy, absolutely crazy.
It's class. I love it. So the thing that, or what brought us together originally was DoddieAid in the dark days of COVID, and it was an amazing thing because none of us knew what we were doing. We were all just making it up as we went along. It was kind of the first one, and then we played your track, and there was a lot of music involved in that show. Why were you involved in that? Who got you involved? What was the point? Why was that important to you?
Who was it?
It was Big Al Kellock.
Kellock.
So we've known Al Kellock for maybe about 12 years, something like that. He came up, a friend of ours brought him up to the Isle of Mull when Mull Music Festival was on, and put it this way, like the ceiling in the old McGawkin's bar in Mull was relatively low, and we were standing up the stage and there's a guy whose head was touching the ceiling thing.
I'm on the stage and my head's not even touching the ceiling.
So and he was up there, a guy we know, Coco McPhail. So Big Al Kellock's up there and we ended up just hanging out with Ali. And I laugh. We ended up trying to wrestle him one night. We just had enough beer in us and thought, we won't ever do that again. Put it that way. He threw me about the length of the car park. But we've always stayed in touch with him. And when you always see him at gigs, if he comes to gigs, obviously standing out a mile. But he reached out to us on the first story and said he was Glasgow captain and would be joining in this as well. And obviously that was just it. And we rounded up some of the guys. But it was it was again something that was great in COVID. You know, this appeared during that time, and it's great to see that it's still going as well. So we've been delighted to.
I think even for a fitness thing for us all, we're all into this. You're out running and cycling and crashing bikes. I think I was off my bike about 3 times.
Yeah, it was a class thing, and the thing that surprised me, because I hadn't heard of it, but when we played it and I watched it back when I knew that we were going to be having a chat, I watched it back, and the comments that were coming up, there was so many people saying, love Skerryvore, saw them in Inverness, been to the festival and seen them. There was heaps of people that were aware of what you were up to, and it was a great way of connecting again at a time where really we couldn't do that. When you came out of COVID, did you find that you had any new followers because of things like that you'd been involved in?
Oh, definitely. I think our social media probably done pretty well. I think through just the doing, like, obviously been part of this the DoddieAid stuff, and then just with the music we released, and we managed to do a couple of live streams, just when we were still in lockdown, as well as a band. So things like that was helping grow our following. So we're trying to keep quite active. Like Alec was doing, I think I don't know how many Friday nights in a bounce. Alec would do a couple of hours himself, and the folk just loved it. That's what the Friday night was, because they couldn't go to the pub, so they'd tune into him and do that. And I started doing cocktail nights, which it was nearly the death of me.
He came to the point that there was just like parcels of drink arriving at the house, like brands sending him stuff.
So that's for next week. I'm alright. So I'm starting the Monday preparing for the Saturday.
And because Al, you've been involved at Glasgow Warriors, you love your rugby and you love going to Glasgow, but I think Scotland's the real passion, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, ultimately we never had any rugby really at all in Tyree, so it's really probably only via Ali Kellock and our nephew Drew, that played for West of Scotland and all that. That's probably how we just took an interest in rugby. Martin's built a rugby player.
So yeah, I've been rugby players.
It was always football boys, but we've definitely got more into it. We'll still get plenty of stick because we're football boys at the end of the day, you know. But no, it's been great to follow, and particularly since we got to know Ali. I think one of the times we met him as well, it was Big Simone boy that was in the Warriors team. We went out with him and Ali drinking as well, and we drank both of them under the table, so they're not having any of this nonsense that they're tougher drinkers on us. So. But it's been good. It's been good, and obviously, like the way the Scotland team has been over the last few years, and then us getting information that they were using "Take My Hand" as a song behind the scenes and all that. It was amazing. So Alec did a private concert for them during COVID as well. I think the team were out in Argentina at one point in a training camp or something like that, and Alec joined in a call and sang them an acoustic version of "Take My Hand" and stuff as well. So that's been amazing. And again, as you're saying, it's like if you got new fans, it's amazing just how that can help in terms of getting our music to another community and stuff as well. So it's been great.
So when you watch the Six Nations and you see, we've obviously performing pretty well in this one, is there a wee bit of, we fueled that?
I don't know.
You like the things that I do.
No, it's amazing, even the amount of videos we get seen when it's on, and
even from the state folk in the stadium, they're filming it straight away and tagging us on it on social media. So it's great, just that sort of thing is amazing.
So when there's tries that were playing "Take My Hand" and stuff around the stadium, and like folk are filming it, tagging us on it. So I mean that's absolutely amazing. We can only be really thankful for that as well. So the only thing we need to do is maybe get there ourselves, because we've not been yet. So that's something that's on the list, hopefully.
There must be a bit of you thinking, hang on a minute, we could be on that pitch entertaining 67,500 folk, is there not?
Oh, that would be amazing, eh? Maybe one day.
It's something we're obviously hoping we can do, maybe hopefully sooner rather than later. It would be nice. We'll wait and see.
There's a wee glint in the eye there for both of you. There's still a couple of games to go. I'm interested. Well, I'm going to be at the Ireland game, so if we can make it that one, that means I get to see you live and at Murrayfield. So that one would be a nice one. If you were to play in a stadium like that, obviously with a massive crowd, how does that fit in with everything you've done before?
Oh, it'd be incredible. I mean, we've had some amazing experience, played at some amazing festivals, but the chance to play at a sporting arena, a national stadium would just be incredible, particularly for a national game like that as well.
Something that's so important.
Yeah.
Another
Another one that we'll just be pinching ourselves again, going, how's this all happened? And since we started just playing some tunes in the pub in Tyree, 17 odd years ago, whatever it is. So now it'd be a dream come true if we can make that happen.
On the live tracks, you know, you can go quiet and you can listen to the crowd sing it back to you, or there's times where he gets them to do a bit of the harmony and stuff like that. To have that coming back from a stadium crowd, that would you just have to stop playing? Do you think you'd be able to keep going?
I don't know. We just obviously hope that we'll be there to hear us and listen to us a wee bit, because obviously everyone's that buzz for the games and these happen, but it'd be a great opportunity. We would absolutely love to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to do that real soon.
So although your football was the first love, when you're watching rugby, who is it that gets you excited? Who gets on the ball and makes you think, I could pay to watch that guy?
I think just everyone's talking about Duhan, aren't they, because of the try there a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like we were home in Tiree that weekend actually watching with our uncle and all that as well. It was just absolutely incredible. But I think that's the amazing thing about this team just now. There's a lot of different aspects of it that's exciting, and I think it's an amazing thing about rugby at the moment as well, is like how popular it is with people of all ages in Scotland. I think that's the absolute brilliant thing. We obviously spend a lot of time in the USA. It's the place we tour the most, and it's amazing seeing like the NFL and all sports out there, how engaged entire communities and states are, and
family oriented.
And rugby's really getting at it. It frustrates me a lot, to be honest, with football in particular, because I think they're a million miles away from that at points, particularly in the club game. But when you see that over there, and I think like what the SRU are doing and the way rugby is, it's amazing. It's getting towards that way, like from the fan zones outside the stadium, and just the engagement and the mix of crowds and all that as well. So it's doing all the right things. It's going to be great for the game anyway.
Rugby boys enjoy a sing song. Kelly Brown's got some set of pipes on him. Have you heard him singing?
Online, yeah.
He was on the DoddieAid that time as well.
He any excuse to get hold of a microphone. Maybe you can get yourself a wee special guest at one of these things and get him on. He sings. He does Highland Cathedral. He does Caledonia. You could get him on for a gig. He'd be there in a heartbeat.
Get him go on his knees or something. No, stand beside us.
I know. Everybody you've mentioned, Al Kellock, Duhan van der Merwe, Kelly Brown, they're all absolute giants.
I think that's like it, because we're standing on stages half the time when we come off and sign stuff like that, and folk are like, I thought you're a lot taller than that. 5'8", 5'9".
You'd notice if Duhan van der Merwe and his wife turned up at one of your gigs, I think.
I think so. Is he as tall as Al Kellock?
He's a big lad, Duhan. He's like Mr. Incredible.
He looks an absolute unit.
You fancy tackling him?
Yeah. No, we learned a lesson with Al Kellock that time at Mull.
I think there's even more a story to tell there than what you've given away.
Very good ones from Mull.
He's some boy, Big Al. I was with him in Orkney a few years ago. We went up with the Penguins. Trouble seems to follow him around. And when you get an invite to Glasgow Warriors, is he after something, or is he genuinely just getting you along?
Again, during the if it wasn't for the Omicron, I think we would have been there. There was a chat. The plan was we were going to be there between Christmas and New Year for the game, and obviously everyone got shut down with the Omicron in that time. So again, that might be something that comes back around, hopefully, as well, on there. So trying to when we last saw him.
That gig in Dumfries.
Down at the rugby club down at the Borders.
What's that place called?
So we did see him last year. You always see him when he's in the crowd. You always see him. So.
You'll notice him. What was the hoolie at the Hydro like?
Great. That's actually the last time I was at Warriors. Starting the promo thing for the hoolie at the Hydro was at Glasgow Warriors, and met a couple of players there. But I know it's amazing, incredible experience again. Great venue. So.
That is an amazing place, and you're getting all geared up for more tour dates. You must never be at home, you pair.
We have been now, which is good. We've only one show in January. We've been busy doing some album rehearsal stuff, but we've been off. Yeah. Been off all February, and we start back on the 1st of March, back out to the States. So
it's been good to everyone's had sort of time do various things. Like Scott he's out in Thailand for a month, and a few of the boys have all different holidays and breaks and stuff just to recharge. And then we start on 1st of March back to stateside, and then we come back to the Scottish States and then out for a month in the US. And when we come back from that, a couple of days after coming back from that tour, the new album's released. So it's we'll go for another year, no doubt.
Yeah, 28th April, Tempest is out. Talk me through the writing of a song. There's the music. There's the music. There's the words. There's the here's your bit. Here's the. I mean, there must be a lot of tinkering between the start and the finish.
Yeah. To be honest, it's streamlined a lot more. Again, just with that COVID break, what it allowed Alec to do in particular is he invested a lot of stuff in his own home studio. And went in room in his flat, and he's invested in a lot of equipment and stuff, and just got himself a setup where he could basically record a song demo and move it on pretty far. So like when we did the song You and I that got on the Radio 2, that was pretty much recorded in Alec's flat, and then Scott's got a music studio in the upstairs bit of his house. We didn't go into a commercial studio at all because obviously he couldn't at that point. And then we did that process again. It worked, and we just thought, look, this works for us. So let's just do the whole album that way. So particularly for the songs, Alec would do a demo and take it on so far, and then everyone would just go and learn their parts and make suggested parts, come into the studio, and we wouldn't all be there together either. You'd just come in and try some ideas. That would get layered up, or something would get scrapped, and that would get layered up, and it would just get built round there. But the fact that Alec had already moved the song so far made that quite quick, whereas maybe previously beforehand you would be trying to do these arrangements and try and do bits together as a group, which sometimes is great, but when you've got 8 guys in the band, it's a lot of opinions, a lot of things, so you go around in circles. But then
which brings me to my next point. Is there ever a fallout?
Very seldom, to be honest. We used to have a rod down there.
I would say the worst of it was the early days. Like he was 18 and I was 21. We were like getting a few beers too many and throwing punches and all that and everything else. But and honestly, me and him haven't fallen out. I don't know how long.
We've all got on great, which is good for with each other. Everybody kind of knows each other's limits and respects that. You know when somebody's having a wee puff, you leave them alone. So,
you get no characters, and you'll just know that today's not the day to wind them up. Like he's pretty much the biggest wind up merchant. Him and probably Scott, the other piper. So it's like they're always playing pranks and stuff, but they'll know if there's somebody that maybe shouldn't prank today.
It's funny, like him going on about having a dram, and I remember somebody telling me that rugby players think they can drink, army think they can drink, but nobody can drink like a piper. So you're getting ready for tour. You got the album coming out. Everything You Need's a single, and there's a line in it. It says, "Time will bring you everything you need." Is that a belief?
I hope so. Yeah, I think certainly when Alec wrote it again, a lot of these lyrics and stuff were inspired over the last couple of years on it, but I think Alec's also good at writing lyrics that a lot of people can adopt in their own lives and their own ways and have their own meaning to it and all that as well. But certainly from the band's perspective, we're hoping this is going to be a really good time for us. It's the first time we've ever signed a record label, and working on that has been a great sort of return after the post-COVID things. But we just hope it can go another level again with this new album and the year ahead.
There's absolutely no doubt it is class. I absolutely love it. Gentlemen, I've loved speaking to you. Thank you so much for giving up some time. Hopefully we're going to be talking again about Scotland winning a championship and you performing at Murrayfield, and success. It's all there for you. The thing I've not prompted you or primed you for, at the end of this, I always ask people to finish this sentence. So I don't mind who goes first, but for me, happiness is egg-shaped. For you, happiness is?
A good dram.
You knew that was coming.
Absolutely standard.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to think. Oh,
Scotland winning the Six Nations.
aye. Scotland winning. Or Scotland
Right.
winning anything is happiness.
Aye,
Anything.
Scotland-
Tiddly winks a lot.
I'm old enough to remember when Scotland went to a football World Cup. So there's a lot of folk who'd think that was happiness. Gentlemen, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Great to see you, and hopefully I'll catch you sometime soon.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank
Bruce. Cheers.
At Murrayfield. At Murrayfield.
Hopefully.
Brilliant. If you enjoyed that, you can catch us on Apple, Acast, and Spotify. You can watch on YouTube and Facebook. I loved it, and hopefully they will be back. And who knows, I might even get to see them live at Murrayfield, fingers and legs and everything else crossed. My name is Bruce Aitchison from the Happiness Is podcast, and my happiness is egg-shaped. I look forward to speaking to you all again very, very soon. But in the meantime, look after yourself. Thank you.